Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. All right, first thing we're going to do is punch a center hole in this. And that won't take long. There we go. Let's back everything up a little bit. Oops, we're going to hit, so we'll be back. All right, so now what we need to do, now that we've got our center in, is drag this thing out so that there's 5.5 inches of clearance. All right, we'll get ourselves a little scale, and we got 5.5. We got about 6. We can bring it back a little bit. There's exact, or almost 6. So that gives us plenty of room to fiddle this up. There we go. Tighten it up. And we got the beginnings of a something. Now, I'm thinking this whole thing has to be concentric. The outside with the hole. Now, all of this stuff doesn't have to be concentric, just this end and this end. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to have to think about that one for a little bit. And hey, it's lunchtime. I'm out of here. Okay, Nick Collier here. You know, I kind of thought about this all last evening and into the night. And, you know, maybe even I dreamed about it. I don't remember. But there's a problem here. And if it was just normal going through, I'm going to bring this in closer to you. If it was just the normal cutting steps here and then boring a hole, there'd be no problem. But I forgot that there's a keyway I have to put into the interior of this bore. And how am I going to do that? I don't have a jumping jack, nor do I have a shaper to be able to go into a blind hole and cut a keyway. So, you know, I'm not sure. You know, I thought about it and thought about it. And the only way I can think is to bore this hole just a little bit deeper, like over to this point, all the way through, or cut this off first, bore a hole through it, and then cut my keyway with a keyway cutter, and then reattach this, you know, bore the hole not to the complete size, maybe 50 thousandths under or something like that, do my keyway, and then reattach this, maybe a press fit or something like that, and then weld that edge and then come back in, set the thing up, and of course there'll still be a big slug out here. Grab it on the lathe here, finish boring my hole, and then set this this shaft diameter at the same time so that these two are absolutely concentric. So I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to take a few measurements and see where we need to cut that thing, and then throw it on the bandsaw and cut away. All right, so first thing we're going to do is measure the shaft, and that is 1/600. So that's this hole here. But we need to cut this hole longer so that we can take this part of it and press fit it into this sleeve once we cut the sleeve. And then we would come in and weld that up, and it would be a solid unit. So 1/600 is our hole, and I'm guessing we put another inch on that, 2.5 inches, let's say. So we're going to take our slug, and we're going to cut 2.5 inches off of it, and let's go over to the bandsaw and do that. All right, we got our 2.5 inch mark there. Time to make a hole in the middle of that sucker. Let's put our drill bit in. So we're, you know, probably 11/16 hole or something like that. I didn't even look because it doesn't matter. But from this point, it does matter. And I'm going to go get the paperwork. All right, so we've got a drill bit at 930, which is 15/16. And that'll get us within about 50 thousandths of where we want to be. And I think that will be enough. Okay, we're going to turn this on. All right, so let's find a key and a spacer that's going to work for that hole. And I'm guessing somewhere in there. Nope, too big. Almost. And the problem is, and that's too big. Huh. And that's just slightly under 1 inch, so we're going to have to make a custom one. And of course, so I'll go find some material and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so we got a piece of 1 inch hot roll, just regular stock, I think 1018 or something like that. And we're going to cut about a 2-inch piece because we have to go through the whole length of this. And then once we get it to the right diameter, then we'll cut it and take it over to the mill and mill a slot. So, ready? Let's go. Okay, that's better. More handleable. All right, so now let's take it. Oh no, that's right. We're going to take this part over to the saw, cut it off, and then make ourselves a. Ooh, that didn't exactly fit. Now did it? Got a little bit of an edge there. We'll come in with our half-round pointy file. Let's see what that looks like. Still locking. There it goes. All right, we're set. Okay, it's a 5/16 keyway, which is 3125, I believe. And let's see what we've got for a bit here. Boy, it's almost perfect. All right, and then our height is 6 15. So let's go find 0. We're going to bring the table up to it until it touches. There we go. And take it off the end. We'll do 100 per pass. Okay, so we've cut both walls and we're about 10 thousandths under, and I just want to test that out and see if we're just about right. I'd say we are. So at this point we're going to cut from that side. We're going to climb cut, so we want to come another 5. Geez, that's almost 5 there. All right. And we want to come down another 5. And that's our final cut. Good fit. Just about perfect. Okay. So we're set. The depth is right. Everything is good. Let's clean this out and make sure we've got a good slide going. Oh, and we do. Yep, and it's undersized. It sits right underneath the radius, and then it comes up perfect. So we take our piece out now. I'm going to file these edges just a little bit to kind of clean them up and get them so that I don't get cut. And we're going to go over to the bench. All right, let's just do just a little bit of file work here. Knock off those rough edges. There we go. Nice. All right, we got ourselves a sleeve. see how it's going to work. Pretty stout, pretty steady. Nice fit. Oh, it goes this way. There it is. It's going to fit just right. All right, let's take it over to the lathe, and we're going to actually use the carriage of the lathe to push into this and see how that comes out. All right, let's see how this is going to work. I'll put a little bit of oil on everybody. And we're just going to start working our way in. Now this is 8620, so it's a bit harder material. And actually, you know what? It's going to push too much on that carriage. So we'll take it over to the press and we're going to press it in. Okay, here we are at this Little Harbor Freight 20-ton press. It works great. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but you got to pump the hell out of it in order to make it work. And I can't wait to get that other press going, and so that this kind of thing would just take seconds instead of maybe an hour. So we're going to bring you in closer so you can see it working. And let's go ahead and crank on this a bit and see what we can come up with. Okay, we're back, and we're going to drop this plate down and get this thing so we can punch a keyway in it. And hey, let's get started. Okay, because we don't know what our measurement is just yet, we're going to go over and measure it and measure the key stock, which is 5/16, and then figure out how much more we've got to take off here. So follow along. Okay, so we got our our keyway punched, and that came out pretty good. Remember, we're 50 thousandths under, so I took the keyway 50 thousandths over. And then by the time we make this bigger, we're going to have about 20 thousandths extra room, which is exactly what we want. So now this has to go back on this. And we're going to cut a 1/2 inch shoulder, the size of this hole, and slide this on, or actually press fit it on, and then weld it up. So, and you know, we're kind of running out of room. I thought I had extra, but I didn't. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this in a 2 centers and run it from that point. And that way I can flip it and do the other side and flip it back and, you know, back and forth as I need to. So first thing we want to do is cut ourselves a center in the end of the shaft. We've got one on the other side, but we need one on this side. All right. Good start. Now we're going to put ourselves a live center in here. Ah. Okay. Take this out, and you know there is room, but you know you get out here and grab it on the end, and this thing can start flopping around. So better, safer, everything to put it in a double center. So what we have to do is find our center. There it is. Bring our compound around to 60 degrees. I think that's where we want to be. Bring our bit back around. Uh-oh, that's as far as we go. Let's see here. Okay. Now we want to be out here. Can we back this up a bit? Yes, we can. Good. All right, so that's where we want to be. And I think that's going to get us where we want to go. We're free. I'm going to lock that carriage down because it's awfully close. Well, I just realized we can't center it because I need to bore this out and it's going to be on the center. So, duh. But we can center it just to get that one, you know, it doesn't really matter. All right, we got to go back to the drawing board because I'm seeing a problem here. Okay, once again, stretching this lathe out to its extremes, we're going to cut our shoulder and press the piece in, the other side in. Where is that other side? I think it's over on the table. Press that in, weld it, bring it back to, oh, and then square up the outside edge, bring it back over to here, hook it up, put it in so that there's like, I don't know, a half an inch holding, and then it'll rest in this. No, it won't rest in the center. What we're going to do is put the steady rest out here on the end. Whether there's going to be room to do that or not, I don't know. So we're going to just cut this first and get the thing welded, and then we go from there. Okay, so we're ready to press. I think what we want to do is get our press totally set up, ready to go. Now it looks like we're there. Oh, it doesn't even need to be pressed, but it is a good slip fit, so that's good enough. Now we can just throw a bead in there and square this thing up, and we've got ourselves a sleeve. And I measured it when it was hot, so now that it's cool, it's fits just right. Okay, let's heat it up and see where it's going to go. Okay, now Sal, now since this is 8620, we're going to go ahead and take this up. To normalize that weld. So we're going to put that in the kiln and just let it dry, let it cool off there.